Welcome and greetings. We are extremely pleased to be here with you today, this day of your time. Today's transmission is a continuation of our course, The Game of Awakening. Our topic for this transmission is how perception controls reality. Dearest ones, we love you so much. We shall now guide you through a course of imagery that will assist your consciousness to open and expand to infinite timelines, and most importantly, how your current perception determines the timeline you are choosing. We ask you to now close your eyes. You are in an infinite, beautiful space. It goes on forever. In front of you is a bookshelf. The bookshelf contains a row of books. You look closer at the bookshelf and you notice that the bookshelf itself goes on forever to your left. As you look down the row of books towards your left, you notice that each book going further and further to your left is getting darker, dustier. There is a very uncomfortable growl noise, and there is a smell on the books that are further and further away to your left, and this smell is very unpleasant. You bring your gaze back to the books that are in front of you, and you take a deep breath. You now notice that the same bookshelf goes on for infinity to your right. So too do the books that are on that bookshelf. The books to your right are beautiful. As you look closer, you see that the books that are further and further away to your right are getting brighter, are glowing, are sparkling. There seems to be an angelic song being sung by the books, and there is the most beautiful aroma from those books to your far right. The books to your right are so glorious and just feel better and better. You bring your attention back to the books directly in front of you. You reach out and take the book that is directly in front of you. The book is neither dark and dusty nor bright and glowing. It seems to be just neutral. You look at the cover of the book. The book is called My Now Moment Destiny. You open up the book at the beginning, the chapter called My Childhood, and begin reading. The book is a perfect and completely accurate description of your childhood. It describes absolutely everything you remember, absolutely every emotion that you felt, and every single way you remember you were treated. You realize that it is a perfect record of your memories. You begin to flip through the book. You read everything that you have ever thought with every single emotion included in it. It is the most perfectly detailed description of who you believe you are. Every thought, every belief, every habit, every assumption, absolutely everything. As you read it, you see so many things that make you feel happy and so many things that make you feel angry and sad. You flip further ahead in the book to a point in your future. Yes, this book has your future already written out. You begin reading and you see that everything that you assumed would happen actually did happen. You read about how you believed your health would turn out because of your family history and what others have told you to expect about your health as you get older. You read about how your career turns out because deep down you know your current fears and frustrations and limitations with your career. You read about how your relationships turned out. Those people who you just knew were going to hurt you did indeed hurt you, and how you decided to settle with the relationships you had because those were the commitments you made. You read about how your finances turned out, and yes, it is just like you had been thinking it was going to be. You read about how the world events and governments ended up influencing the people of the world. This book describes perfectly every single fear, worry, belief, and habit that you know you currently have. In fact, this book basically showed that every single vibration that you currently have never, ever changes. You ask yourself, how is that even possible? Are we not able to change our reality? But this book of your life, this book of your now moment destiny, clearly shows that nothing ever changes. Ever. This book shows that the vibrations that are active right now and every single thing manifested in your life never changes in vibration. Everything remains the same in feeling for the rest of your life. Again, you ask yourself, how is this possible? You take a deep breath, close the book, and put it back on the bookshelf directly in front of you. You take out the very next book directly to your right of that first book. The book looks almost exactly the same as the first book, but there seems to be a hint of something. Maybe it feels slightly softer, or maybe it feels just slightly smoother. You cannot quite tell what is different, but you can feel just the most minuscule difference in the book. You look for the title of the book. Again, it is called My Now Moment Destiny. You open the book and begin to read the same parts of the book. This book is almost identical to the first book. You can only notice a couple of minor changes. In this book, you read that you laugh more when you are around others. In this book, you actually ended up laughing when you tripped instead of getting angry. And you also noticed that your health in this book seems to be just slightly better than the first book. You take another deep breath, close the book, and put it back on the bookshelf directly in front of you. Again, you take out the very next book directly to your right of that last book. This book is slightly nicer. The cover is definitely softer, and you notice that it is slightly brighter. You look for the title of the book. Again, it is called My Now Moment Destiny. You open the book and begin to read the same parts of the previous two books. This book is almost identical again, but there seems to be a few more enjoyable things. You noticed that the friendship that ended because you could not forgive that person ended up becoming resolved, and you did not carry a feeling of hate within you for the rest of your life as you did in the first book. You read that your health that had declined significantly in the first book at certain markers in your life did not get as severe in this book. You read that your career actually went further than you currently expected that it could. You read that you laughed a lot more than you know you currently do. And you read that you had a few more experiences that were enjoyable that happened to you that you know did not happen in your current experience of life in the very first book. You take a moment to think about this. Each of these books are getting more and more enjoyable. As you read the book, you realize that each character, yourself, your parents, your children, your teachers, your friends, your coworkers, your spouse, acts in a very specific way throughout the entire book and never changes. But each of those characters are different from book to book. But the character itself does not change within that one book. It is almost like the character can only behave a certain way within the one book because the vibrations that are attached to that character dictate precisely how that character will react and behave in that one book. You close the book and put it back on the bookshelf directly in front of you. You walk over to your right a little ways and try to pick up one of the more beautiful, sparkly, and glittering books, but it will not come off of the shelf. You try a few of the other books around the same area, but they will not move either. You walk back to where you had been, where you had put the last book on the shelf, and try taking the book directly to its right. This book you were able to take off the shelf. You find this interesting as it means you cannot jump up in vibration to a significantly higher vibration. You can only move step by step, sliding gently and easily into a higher vibration. You read the title of this book. Again, it is the same. My Now Moment Destiny. You open the book and flip through it. Again, very similar to the book that you just put back, but you realize that it is actually quite different than the first book. This book just reads like the mind experiencing everything saw things from a more positive mindset. This book reads like the character is always expecting better things and is usually planning for the best instead of planning for the worst. Most of the characters are the same, but there are a couple of characters that are no longer in this book. As you read on, you see that one coworker that caused you trouble left your company, and one person who treated you badly no longer deliberately tried to hurt you. You also read that there was one family member in particular whom you currently are having the most difficulty with actually ended up getting along with you after a while. You read that you went on a wonderful trip around the world. You read that you had more money in your bank account than you thought you would. This book just keeps getting better and better. Yes, you get it now. Each book to your right is getting better and better. But this is the key. You realize that each book has its own specific vibrations written into the book that are infinite and cannot change. Therefore, the characters in that book also have their own matching specific vibrations that match your vibration, and everything manifests in that book based upon the specific vibrations that do not change. And each book to the right will have higher and higher vibrations attached to them, which means the manifestations in each book are going to be higher and higher, which means that each character in the book will have their own higher and higher vibrations. And then it dawns on you this very important fact. Nothing outside of you actually changes. What you expect to experience will be what you experience. What causes you frustration will always cause you frustration. What you hate, you will always hate. What you love, you will always love. Nothing outside of you changes. So then you realize, if nothing ever changes within one book because it is written upon the permanent, infinite vibration attached to that book, then the only way to experience something different is to change books. If you want to feel less hate, then you need to find a way to become the character in the book that has less hate. If you want to have less frustration, you have to find a way to become the character in the book that has less frustrations. This means as you choose to become a different character in a higher vibrational book, the world around around you, including your home, your family, your friends, your career, your health, your finances, your governments. Everything will appear to change when you find a way to become the character in the higher vibrational books. This means nothing will change in the book that you are currently reading. It is what it is. It is set. The behaviors are set. No one and nothing changes. It will continue forever. It is set because the vibrations that are attached to that book are infinite. The vibrations do not change, and one cannot just jump from one vibration to another. One must slide gently through the vibrations, one at a time. You now understand that this means the only way to live in a better and happier world is if you decide to change yourself and take action to change yourself into the character that is written in the book you want to live, that has the better and happier world already. And here is another important key that you realize. You are the only one that can decide how you would behave and think and act, and your habits and beliefs that you would have if you lived in the world that you want to live in. But since you must slide slowly from one book to the next, it will appear that your life is not changing. There will only be the slightest signs between books. But the key is to slide through enough books so when you look back, you can see how much has actually changed. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes patience. Slowly, book by book, you realize you need to begin to act the part of the characteristics of the character in the book you want. And as you do so, your world around you slowly shifts to match the higher frequency books. You take a deep breath and open your eyes. Dearest ones, we love you so much. Your reality is just that, yours. It is only yours, and it is only one of many. There is no quick fix to flip your life around, to see only positive and to have only positive in the world around you. In fact, the world around you shall always exist in the chaos that it is, until enough people stop reading the book that matches your current reality, and there is no more attention drawn to that one book. And only then, over time, that book, with all of the current chaos in your world, shall disintegrate and be no more. What does this mean, dearest ones? It means you cannot fight for change in others. It will not work. All you can do is change yourself. If you want change in the world, then you must change. You must become the character in the book that you want to live in. What we have described for you is a method of understanding alternate realities and timelines. Just like a rainbow, where each color is gently blended into the next one with no hard lines. There are no hard lines to differentiate between your realities. This is how you co-create. Your realities are always blending. With respect to the book analogy, your realities are always blending between 2 to 3 books that are side by side. Most humans never change from these few books. Most humans use only those 2 to 3 books for their entire lives. This is what you have been taught to do. And dearest ones, we love you so much. We are telling you there is so much more. There are infinite choices of glory that are before you if you decide to make the changes within yourself instead of casting blame to others and waiting for someone else to change. This is key, dearest ones. Others cannot and will not change. They cannot. That is the book you are reading. Hear us now, dearest ones. You are the only one who can change the book you are reading. Again, nothing will change if you want it to change. The only thing that can change is you. The animals cannot change. The people cannot change. The governments cannot change. The rules cannot change. The weather cannot change. Nothing can change except you. If you change yourself and become the character in the book you want to read, then it will appear to you that these other things changed, but in fact, it was you. You will be the one to have changed. You will be the one to have shifted into a reality where things are better. And to you, you will believe others changed and you are the same. This is the confusion for most humans. Nothing changes outside of yourself. Nothing. Only you. You are reading one book right now. If you decide you want a better government, then you must become the character that is in the book where the government already is better. If you decide you want a better bank account, then you must become the character that is in the book where your bank account already is better. If you decide you want better health, then you must become the character that is in the book where your health already is better. If you want a better career, then you must become the character that is in the book where you already have your dream career. Do you see, dearest ones? You must completely shift the way you understand your life. You have been taught things backwards. You have been taught things in a distortion. Life does not affect you. You affect life. You are God incarnate. You are a manifestation of God. You determine what you experience. Everything already is created. Everything already is written down in the books of your life. You determine which book you want to read. You determine what you focus upon. The power is yours. Reclaim your sovereignty. Wield your own magic wand of your mind. Choose your book of life. Become the character of your perfection. You are love. You are light. You are freedom. You are power. We leave you now in the love and the light of the one infinite Creator, Adonai.